Phil, is that though they expose themselves to that kind of ridicule in the short term, but the strategy is to make themselves appear to be, more right-wing than perhaps...
It's product differentiation. I mean, Julie's been a bit cheeky there because it's not a coalition with the Greens like a Liberal National. It's not a... But it's a power sharing. It's an alliance. But there's two things going on. Joel Fitzgibbon's voters, who are the blue-collar voters, and the inner-city voters, who are the progressive left, as they call themselves. Now, being allied with the Greens helps you with the progressive left, but it's not helping you with the Joel Fitzgibbon voters. So you've got these competing forces in Labor, and Tony Abbott has been quite brilliant in exploiting this whole, Bob Brown is the real Prime Minister type thing, which is just... that's stuck. It's not true, but it's stuck out there. And so it's almost wedge Labor, if you like. And there's this frustration in the Labor right. When they got into power, they undid the Pacific solution on asylum seekers. Do they get any votes from the left? No. All the left goes and votes for the Greens anyhow. So they get nothing when they move to the left. And then they get all confused. They move back to the right, and then even more people go to the left and people go to the right, and they just sit there getting skunned from both ends.
If they both, though, were sincere about this, if both major parties preferenced the Greens last, the impact would be Labor would shore up some seats in the House of Representatives, perhaps seats that they would more likely not win anyway, and then the benefit for the coalition would be they'd be in better shape in the Senate, right?
Well, there's every chance, and the Greens make this point too, there's every chance that should Tony Abbott win the next election, if that strategy went ahead, he could end up with control of both houses. And the Greens say, well, look what happened last time with work choices and a whole lot of other things. So they've got a ready-made argument there, and they're all scratching their heads and saying, what advantage is this to suggest to preference us last?
But if the big parties gang up on the Greens in the Senate, then you get this distorted result where parties like Family First, for example, can get 2 or 3% of the primary vote and then leapfrog the Greens, who might get 10%. Look, I think you get that kind of unusual result as well.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that there's not going to be an overwhelming number of votes in the Senate for the Australian Labor Party, and not even as insurance. So those votes are going to go somewhere, and as you say, it might be Family First, it might be the ALP, it might be the Greens, but it doesn't really matter in the end. If Labor's given up the contest, they're not going to go to the ALP.
And remember on that point that, I think it was Steve Fielding from Family First got something like 1.9% primary vote in his favour, and still won that seat because of that.
Thanks to Labor.
Weird preferences, thanks to Labor.